I'm realizing that to experience sort of new things and sort of to live the life that we want to live, we have to become the right person to live it. I think that a lot of our life is sort of spent in reference to our previous selves and especially our thoughts about ourselves. And I think the more we get caught up in this thought instead of actually taking action, the more we're going to be disposed to being the same person that we were in the past. In a lot of ways, I feel like you create your own path as you create yourself. And when I say that, I really just mean that I feel like it's really about getting into your new self and sort of not necessarily just casting off everything in your past as a means of just I'm rejecting it, but as a confrontation, as a coming face to face with what is and understanding what you want and what you need to do in order to get those certain things. If you want to be in shape, if you want to, do these certain things, you have to put in a certain amount of effort in order to do so. Or you have to at least, change your integrity or your person or your expression of who you are to better accommodate those goals in the future. Because I feel like if you want to work towards any of your desires, it's about one, thinking that you can get whatever it is you want and acting like it. I feel like we have to learn to work in correspondence to that which we want. To sort of vest ourselves in a positive energy and an action in a way that sort of tells the world, tells the universe, tells yourself especially that, what you're aiming for is actually possible. What you want is actually something you're going to receive as long as you keep yourself in mind and continue to move forward. I think that's ultimately what it's about, and, not giving up too soon. Because I feel like a lot of times we give up too soon and sort of relapse into our bad habits and get back into the person that we were before, the person that we're actually trying to change from, without recognizing that whatever discomfort we feel with the present moment, discomfort we feel with ourselves while we're trying to change, is us turning into a new person. It's us becoming once again new. And sometimes that's uncomfortable because we associate ourselves mentally so much with the past, so much what has with what has previously been, to the point where we have trouble sometimes envisioning ourselves in the future, or envisioning a better version of ourselves, or at least telling ourselves that we can get better than what we currently are. I feel like part of self-love is acceptance of who you are, acceptance of what is right here, but I don't think that's the end. I think a true test to your love for yourself is your ability to continue to move forward and let go parts of yourself over and over again. I feel like it's about the constant act of renewal, the constant act of letting go, that allows somebody to truly grow and to progress into who they actually need to be for their situations. I feel like in my experience, especially like when I'm trying to achieve anything, when I'm trying to get something for myself, it's really about understanding that I'm not really against the world and I'm not against myself. I feel like it's me and me versus whatever situation, circumstance, and whatever goal I want to achieve. And I think the more we vest our attention against ourselves or against our environment, the more we're playing defense, the more we're sort of saying to the world that whatever it is, whatever my problem is something that, I can't conquer, I can't get over. But I think that you have to go into it sort of placing yourself beyond the possibility of defeat. I feel like you have to give yourself enough to get from many situations. And I think the main thing that we can give ourselves in any case is the presence enough to see, presence enough to see our situation, and presence enough to see opportunities to sort of mitigate that and to heal that and to truly acknowledge some of the parts of ourselves that are seeking out change. And one of the things that I feel like has been seeking out change with me is really my skincare and everything having to do with like, appreciating the body that I was given, appreciating, who I am in a physical sense, external and internal. I feel like all of these things sort of need to be taken care of in conjunction. I mean, you have to give yourself some type of affirmation on who you are outside as well as you are inside. I feel like it's when we keep one of these things out of balance that it sort of messes us up or steers us away from our intended, purpose, because we stop focusing on, how we can get out into the world, and we start focusing on how, we're seen by the world. And that's why I'm thankful that Teach Hanley is sponsoring this video. If you guys are unfamiliar with Teach Hanley, they're an uncomplicated skincare brand centered around men. And they sent me a couple things, including their level 1 system, which includes a wash, AM and a PM moisturizer, as well as a exfoliating scrub. And as a part of this deal, they're throwing in one of two gifts. One of them is the exfoliating brush, And if you guys are interested in skincare, or at least want to affirm that part of who you are, I feel like, you know, that's something we have to give attention to. I mean, a lot of times I think people are get into this habit of thinking that they don't have to put in a certain amount of work or effort or intention with what they want, because they have it in their head that they should already, have it, already deserve it. And I feel like that's part of manifestation. That's part of bringing things into your world. But I feel like another part of it is validating it in reality and actually putting yourself in. And since they're sponsoring this video, they have an amazing deal for you guys. You can save up to 40% on your first box today and get a gift valued at $20, which is like the exfoliating brush I showed you. And sign up as a money bird to get 20% off for life. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead, check out my bio. And yeah, I feel like overall, the importance in our day-to-day is not necessarily in how productive we really are, but how present we are with what we're being productive with. And when I say that, I mean, like, a lot of times in my experience, like if I'm writing, if I'm doing something, if I'm like even making videos, for an example, I feel like I always do my best and I'm always able to truly, I guess, speak to a point, or at least express to myself to the greatest degree when I choose to be present. When I choose to be within whatever it is I'm trying to create and not trying to analyze it at the same time. I think a lot of times we get into the habit of analyzing while we're creating, analyzing what we're doing, like, oh, they're going to like this, before the finished product actually comes out, before we're actually able to affirm it or connotate something ourselves. And that's why I feel like, in saying that you create your path as you create yourself, I'm saying that any type of affirmation that you give to yourself, any type of love, care, and affection and security that you're able to give to yourself as a means of your person, as a means of your character, as a means of anything, always transfers to your path, always transfers to what you actually want to do. Because I feel like it's not the path that needs affirmation, it's always been the self. And I think the less we focus on the person that's actually walking the path, the less we're going to actually be able to walk it. I think walking the path is the action. Walking the path is the journey. It's the action of doing the path. And I feel like you need a vessel for action. And you need to recognize that you are sort of the conduit for your own change, the conduit for your own potential. And I think the best thing we can give to ourselves to sort of see this potential, to sort of bring it out of us, is to sort of be present enough with our desires and present enough with ourselves to actually act. I feel like this break, I've been trying to take a moment to step away from social media, to step away from a lot of stuff and sort of understand my foundations better. And I think it's not necessarily about casting out, old stuff, but replacing it with something new. And I feel like the greatest thing that I've been able to do in that, absence of media, absence of, I don't know, the same life I was living, is an opportunity to sort of vest something new. And I recognize that the new year is coming up, and I think this is going to be my last video before the new year. It's going to come out on the 30th, I believe. And I think, if anything, we should learn to, take it day to day. Take that renewal, that change, that renaissance, that resolution day to day. I feel like a lot of us wait until the next year, or we wait until some monumental thing to happen, at least in our heads, to tell us to reevaluate who we are, reevaluate our goals, reevaluate how we're going towards those things, and making sure we line up with what we want. And I think that the best thing we can ever do for ourselves is do it right now. It's continue to be new day to day and treat every day like it's new, treat every moment like it's new, and become new with each and every moment. I feel like in that way, we no longer become defined by what has already passed. We no longer become held back by previous versions of ourselves, or even previous mentalities that we might have had on the world around us. We are allowing ourselves to sort of, in this way, be free, or in this way, be present enough to see everything around us and truly appreciate it. I feel like we can never truly appreciate that which is around us until we're actually around to see it. And I think sometimes we get in the habit of seeing things, and I don't want to say seeing things. It sounds kind of crazy, but in a sense of not truly acknowledging what we have in the present moment. Like, we reference certain things we have and allow our gratitude to live in reference to each other. Like, I'm grateful for this, but this is something similar to it, so I'm going to depreciate my gratitude for this item just because this exists. It's like we subject ourselves to depreciation by familiarity. And I think one of the biggest things that we depreciate by familiarity is ourselves. I think in recognizing that everyone has their own complex life, you gain a better sense of, this isn't all about me. This isn't, you let go of some of that ego. But I think it's also still important to recognize that you still have a complex life to live. And I think the greatest way to navigate that complexity isn't necessarily by analyzing it, by saying, oh my God, like this is happening to me. I'm going to be very within my issues, within my problems, but allowing yourself to be outside of it. Allowing yourself to understand who you are, void of your problems, void of your issues, and understanding who truly garners that perspective that makes you see the world the way you do. And I think once we start to focus on that and pay more attention, we're better able to influence that to turn it into something we actually appreciate. Giving ourselves a presence in the audience so we no longer need to stop performing the way we were in the past, and allowing ourselves to express ourselves in new ways and find out, new methods to sort of break into who we are, or break the habit of being who we used to be. All in all, I feel like getting caught up in the ebbs and flows of life is very easy. And I think it's very easy to sort of let go of your discipline sometimes and let go of, what you want long term, in a sense, for some type of short term gratification. And that's why I feel like taking a step away from social media, or taking a step, just being more intentional with what you're thinking about, and then most of all, what you're consuming and feeding to yourself, to the point where you can better choose. Giving yourself more presence in the ability to choose the right thing, to choose what you actually want from yourself and from the world around you. I feel like when we play this role negligently and we sort of treat it like a distant observer rather than an active participant, a lot of our life experiences are in this way defined by what the world throws at us rather than, us moving forward. I feel like an obstacle is only as great as you are small. And I think it's about giving yourself that validation where you are intentionally. So whenever you do run into some obstacle, you're not facing it with some level of ego or mind like, oh, I think I can do this. But your affirmation is actually where you are. I think a lot of us bolster our egos and bolster ourselves up in thought without actually doing it in the real world. Like bringing that affirmation out your mouth into the present moment. Telling yourself everything you need to hear from the world so you aren't dependent on hearing it elsewhere. And that's not to say, you can't appreciate affirmation from the world. You can't appreciate your accolades or anything like that. Of course, appreciate those things. But understand that some of that appreciation has to also go towards yourself. It has to be sort of full circle. I feel like a lot of times when we achieve good things, we just let it go. And sometimes you have to learn to cheer for yourself and give yourself the necessary amount of affirmation to truly be within this world. There's always so much to take us away from ourselves, and there's a lot of negativity at play. And I think the greatest form of negativity that we are disposed to is our own. Not to say that, immoral stuff around the world isn't more negative than what we give to ourselves, but we're the ones who feel the repercussions of our own emotion. Not to say emotion is bad, but to say we have to understand the way in which our thoughts and perspectives contributes to the way that we see the world, and then again makes us react to certain things in an emotional way, or a way that sort of takes us away from what we actually want. Not to say you shouldn't acknowledge negativity or acknowledge the problem or acknowledge the fact that you're sad or something like that, but we don't have to live in every feeling that we acknowledge. I think, of course, you can't hear what you don't acknowledge, but acknowledgement is saying, I understand why I feel this way and what has caused me to feel this way. And also acknowledging the reasons why, that certain something brought you out of yourself, or brought you out of the present moment, or even brought you into the present moment enough to feel. And I think in that we learn about ourselves. We learn about ourselves mostly in our reactions to the external world and our reactions to everything around us. And when we're able to do that and give ourselves that liberty, I think that's when we're able to see true change. That's when we're able to truly give ourselves to this present moment and say, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know if I do the same things I did in the past, then I'll probably recreate what it was in the past. So why not vest your attention, your energy, your love, affection into what is yet to happen? What is new and in this present moment. None of this has ever happened before. I've never been here before making this video before. So why not be present enough to actually experience it when it happens, rather than to live in some type of thought about what this could have been, or some thought about, what I have to do after this. Because at the end of the day, me rushing for that something isn't going to make it occur faster. It's going to make it feel like it is. I'm going to overstress myself and speed up, my consciousness, or diminish my consciousness enough to feel like it's faster. When I could be present in the moment and be more intentional and intimate with my change, and allow myself to truly be built up by myself, and, making sure that I'm actually soundly, paying attention to the parts of myself that are seeking out change, so I don't make any steps in the wrong direction. And I think it's important for all of us to sort of do that, and really just give ourselves an opportunity. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys enjoy this new year, and give yourself some type of affirmation, give yourself some type of care and affection and love for what is yet to come. Because I feel like, how you see yourself is always how you see the world, and what you attract what you are in a lot of ways. So make sure you're treating yourself well, and yeah, Happy New Year.